if your books start selling and then they drop off, I kind of know what the reason is. I'm going to explain to you what the reason is in this video, and more importantly, how to fix it. This is the first time I'm meeting. Hello, I'm Jase Perry. I show busy professionals, people with jobs, how to create a second income from self-publishing. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my tips and tricks and all the good stuff. Right, let's get started, shall we? Now, I call this tough titles. And the reason I call it tough titles is because I believe, with some evidence, which I'll show you in a second, that having a good title keeps your book selling. Actually, let me show you real quick. Here's Julie, made $100 in a day. Genevieve made nearly $6,000, $2,000 that profit last month. And Debbie made $4,000. I think that's over 2 or 3 months. All these guys have tough titles. Okay, they're all following my program. I go on and on about titles. I've been going on about titles since 2023-24 because my coaches, who are smashing KDP and making a lot of money, told me, sorry, before I get on my soapbox, let me make myself bigger. My coaches told me how the importance of titles, which I didn't know before then. They're making a lot of money. I copied them, did loads of work on my titles. I made a lot of money. Now I'm giving it, passing on that knowledge to my students, my clients, and they're making money. It's all about titles, and you need a tough title in order to make money on KDP. Now, why do I call it tough? Because this is what happens. When you publish a book, you're more than likely, especially if you set up ads, if you're in the right niche, etc., you're more than likely to get sales straight away, because Amazon like new stuff. They help push your book. Now, what also is more than likely to happen is it starts dropping. Now, if you've ever published a book recently, you're going to see this happen, and it's going to happen more and more. It's happening more and more now because Amazon is getting saturated by a lot of shit. So if you're nothing special, you're just like them, you're with all the majority of self-publishers, you'll get your little piece of the pie, but then you'll end up at the bottom of the seabed with all of them guys struggling for peanuts. Okay, the reason my guys are able to keep selling because we focus on having a good title. Now, let's just leave aside niches and ads for now, just so we can focus on talking about the title. Let's just assume we're all doing the same, all in the same niche, we're all doing the same ads. So we just say that's not a variable for this. What differentiates, say you, that you got a really good title, or me, I've got a shit title. I've just fallen off now because I'm doing a title like everyone else. You've got a tough title. You're not just going to fall off like that. You're going to keep making sales, or even better, make more and more sales like my students are doing. So what makes a tough title that lasts? First thing is giftable. Now, when a title's giftable, it's very specific to someone. Senior women, retired senior women, girls age 8 to 12, new dads. So it's very giftable. Blatantly obvious on the book cover. It's a gift for someone else. Also complimentary for smart girls, for amazing new mums, etc. Okay, very, very giftable. Okay, I push for giftable titles now because they're just evergreen, and at Christmas you get a boom to the moon with one of those if it's very, very giftable book, right? So good title, tough title is a very, very giftable title. Also, and this is one that you need to pay attention to now, is interesting. Now, I don't know about you, but everyone's doing the same bloody titles. Have you noticed that on Amazon? Because people can use AI to create books now, they think they should just create books like everyone else to make sales. And yes, you'll get some sales that way, but it will fall off. The people at the front of the queue that got them titles first and kind of were at the top of the trend, they're making all the money. All these copycats that see them making money off that title and they start using the same titles, they're not making any money. Now, about a year ago, or maybe even 6 months ago, this was like, okay, this is what I was teaching in my program. This is what I was teaching to my students and clients. Just find what the bestsellers are doing. Literally, just tweak the title. Now, things are changing. And it's a good thing I'm working with a lot of my clients in this market now and seeing what's actually working. And what seems to be working is more interesting titles. So you're not just copying what the bestseller is, but you're not deviating too far. Because if you think of it, I'm just going to do a little thing here. Just say this is where the money is and the title, the current title is selling there. The more you deviate from it, let's call that creativity. The more creative you are, moves you away from the title, the more risky it is. I'm going to do a little dollar sign in, like to demonstrate risk. So the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle where you're kind of familiar to what the similar to the titles that are selling. You're not too creative, so risk goes up. But here's the thing: if you have the guts and the strategy and the workflow to try out a title that's very creative, very, very different, and it sticks, then you're kind of at the forefront of that niche with that new title, and you can literally create your own money. And you see there's titles like that just pop up out of nowhere, like what's that book? Something about Wombat Poo is Cubed or something like that. Kind of weird title for a facts book. They just the author, very smart, very creative, very risky, did it, and he's got away with it. And I think that book's selling below 5,000 BSR. And there's books like that. So I think the more interesting your title now, the better. But if you're not looking to make a lot of risk, take a lot of risk on, then kind of stay in the sweet spot here. But don't be like these guys here that's just doing the same old. All right. And the last thing, which goes hand in hand with interesting, is always. 1 second, my thing's just disconnected. Okay, always do clear and simple. No matter how interesting your title is, if it isn't clear and simple, if it doesn't make sense to the niche, like it confuses them, then you'll have trouble. Simple scales, fancy fails. Don't be fancy. Okay. So, quick summary. Remember, you're getting book sales that just suddenly start falling off. I really believe it's down to the title. You want a tough title. You want a title that's giftable, specific to someone, complementary to someone. You want a title that's interesting. Okay, it's not boring like these guys, but maybe not as creative as these guys unless you want to take that risk. Kind of in the middle, bit interesting, and keep it clear and simple so the customer, always think about the customer, understands what your title's about. Okay, and remember, the title's one element to making sales. I did say, let's just pretend we're all in the same niche and same ads, but you need to get the niche unlocked first, otherwise the title's not going to mean anything, and make sure you've got a good ad system. I teach all of that in my program. I'll leave a link below. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe for more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.